Hello and welcome to that rewatch party where God wants us to go to Milwaukee. I'm Mark Green.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
And I'm Zach Horowitz. And today we are here with a 2-for-1 special almost, kind of.
Yep, we're hanging out down the street. Same old thing we did last week.
You see, we here at Rewatch Party are always striving to experiment with the podcast format. Before, we only talked about one episode of a TV show. Technically, we're talking about 2 episodes of a TV show at the same time.
But in many ways, it's also one episode of a TV show, because today we watched the pilot of That 70s Show and the first episode of the British remake of That 70s Show, Days Like These.
And let me tell you, they are the same episode.
They are the same episode.
Yeah, they have the same script, minus a few differences that we'll go into.
Days Like These uses basically the same script, but they change some pop culture references.
Yeah.
To be more British.
Yeah. More British.
More British.
More British. Which is funny because they probably should have made more changes.
Yeah.
If they wanted the show to work in any substantial way.
Yeah, maybe they should have made like an original script or something.
Yeah.
For anyone who's maybe a British listener, I'd normally say I apologize for that accent I did, and maybe will continue to do. But actually today I don't apologize because you massacred a really good episode of television.
Yeah.
The pilot of That 70s Show is great.
Mark is just blaming the entire country.
Yeah, they got to apologize. They did me wrong.
They did you wrong.
They need to pay reparations against fans of That 70s Show for massacring That 70s Show, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we should say, weirdly enough, the people who did actually write this script are not bad writers, because in the opening credits, I think it's like teleplay by Jesse Armstrong and Sam Bain. Jesse Armstrong, who created Succession.
That's so funny. Like, holy crap, what a find.
Man, his career really evolved over time.
I mean, we're saying, like, oh, how it's so shocking. Like, he's such a good writer. Like, how did he make this? Well, the answer is the studio probably told him not to change that much.
They said, honestly, very honestly, this is not a problem with the script. We have a version of this with the same script, and it's great. The problem, I think, is mostly in direction and performances, which sometimes isn't a thing you can account for. One of the things that makes That 70s Show really sing, I think, in my opinion, is that the entire cast is really great.
Yeah.
They're fantastic, and they're really into their own bits.
Yeah, that's one thing that I kind of noticed just between both versions is, like, the US version, the cast really commits to their characters and the bits that are involved, whereas the British version is more so, like, it's more so on, like, the drier side when the script doesn't really call for that.
But not dry in a committed way, more in a dry, like, we're going to laugh through our jokes kind of.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. People have talked a lot about the differences between American and British comedy, and I'll admit, even though I am a massive comedy fan, I've never quite gotten all of it. I think I was telling you guys, people are like, well, British comedy's a little, like, smarter, a little drier, and I'm like, yes, it's very dry when Michael Palin hits John Cleese with a big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we all know, the most sophisticated comedy out there, the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yes, and I'm not I love that. I love all of it, but you really do see it here where I think this is more dry, because I think in the American version, they're all committing to the emotion of the lines. And in this, they're sort of like telling them like jokes.
Yeah, which makes it feel almost like, especially watching it after, just for those who want to know, the order we watched it was we watched the American version first and then the British version. And then watching the British version afterwards makes it feel like almost like it's kind of half-assed in the performances, which, like, I know they're not going for that. It's just the way that it's. And
this is not us, like, categorically shitting on
no, it's
British
not
comedy, or even it's just like
it's an American script
that something got lost in the translation.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll get into the episode proper in a second, but I've actually watched many episodes of Days Like These and confirm them. They're only like, they're on YouTube. There are only like 8 of them. So many is not a lot. But there's one that I think, there's a line that I think about a lot that I think really demonstrates this, which is it's in the episode The Pill, which both versions have the same episode title. And Jackie thinks she's pregnant and she's talking to Donna about it. And Donna says, "Why didn't you use protection?" And Jackie says, "Well, my cousin told me that I can't get pregnant for 8 days after my period." And Donna says, 8 days after your first day or 8 days after your last day? And in the American version, Jackie's eyes go wide and she says, "I don't know. She never called me back." And in the British version, Jackie just goes, "Well, I don't know. She never called me back." And so like she's delivering it like a pithy little thing. But like what really sells the joke for me is how worried Jackie is about this dumb thing of her cousin not calling her back. And also that she didn't follow up about, like, it's just so funny. The worry.
Yeah. I feel like that's why to me it sounds like almost half-assed, because they kind of take a lot of the emotion out of it, which makes it sound like the characters are kind of disinterested in what's going on. Yeah, I think that's probably it. It's just they just sound like they're disinterested in everything because there's not much emotion in the way they say the lines.
I think if there's one way I disagree, I think it's probably just a little more complicated than them just not being interested. It's probably the director had like a different vision of the characters.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say like that's the reason. I'm just saying that's how it looks to someone who watched both back to back.
Exactly.
I don't think they're disinterested. And I also, again, having seen a lot of these episodes, I think the actors are like good actors. They're doing a lot. They're trying a lot. It's just a sensibility thing where, again, it's like, I think they're delivering it a little more dryly. I think they're like leaning on like sort of, well, if I say the joke, where the American sitcom humor style, you really have to sell the joke in that way.
Let's get into like the plot of the episodes. There are some ways that I think just the fundamental filmmaking and performances just kind of fall flat that we can also comment on.
It starts out with the gang hanging out in the basement. They're egging Eric on to get beer. There's a little bit more of a like prelude where they're just sort of sitting around in the British version, but and they have, I think, a little bit more urgency in the American version. They're like really like, "Eric, this is the last chance."
They're like preparing him to go into war.
I think that's the literal first line of the show. Hyde is going like, "After this is the peak of the party. After this, there will be no more beer opportunities." And it's really great. I really love it.
But by the way, just quick comment: if we say a name like Michael Kelso, you can just assume that we're talking about both versions. There are some names that are British show that are switched.
I think the main one I can think of is Michael Kelso is Michael McGuire. I think
Michael Kelso is Michael McGuire. Actually, if the full cast list, only Eric and Kitty have exactly the same names. They change Red to Ron because I guess Red isn't as.
They changed Fez to Torbjorn. Do they change Donna's name?
Donna is still Donna Palmer and not Donna Pinciotti. So we don't really find that out in this episode. Hyde in the British version is Dylan Jones. And Jackie also has a different last name.
What we're saying is we're going to call them by the American version of the names because that's what we're more familiar with.
And just to simplify it, because they're the same characters anyway.
But I really love this scene where they're egging Eric on to get the beer. And there's, what is it? There's a line, Eric's like, "Well, if my dad finds out, he's going to kill me." And Hyde says, "That's a risk I'm willing to take, or I'm willing to take that risk." And I love it. I love these performances. I love these characters. It's really good. It's really good stuff.
It's fantastic. They're all just a
lot of my notes are like, these actors are really good. My next note is literally Deborah Jo Rupp is really good.
Because we go over to Kitty. Great.
I mean, she's like easily one of the best actors in the entire show. Steals it away.
Kitty is preparing food, and she's dancing and singing to herself, and we see all this from Eric's point of view. The camera is taking on Eric's point of view, which is like interesting camera work. And you don't
see that very often.
No, it's something. it's something that I really appreciate about that 70s show. I mean, they always, throughout the run, they are doing like cutaway gags, but it's in the first season specifically. I think they do a lot of like experimentation with form, a lot of like weird things that I really appreciate. It's like not necessarily in that first season a by the numbers sitcom. They do a lot of creative things, and I think it's really good. I really like this show, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My first comment on like the differences between these scenes is the camera work just is a lot slower in the British version and a lot more obvious in ways that don't really complement the scene. Like there's a shot where like Eric takes a quick peek at Donna's mom's breasts, and in the American version it's literally just a quick shaking of the camera, like down, up. And in the British version is a really creepy like
it's like a slow zoom,
as if Eric is craning his neck towards her breasts.
And by the way, Bob, Donna's father is right
like...
there.
That is a fun mental image for me though, to imagine Eric just going like further and further, craning his neck in as her husband is literally standing right there.
Just imagine that. Maybe Bob's just cool with it. Maybe Bob's like very cool. He's like,
Bob's
my wife's
like,
hot,
I got a hot
it.
wife.
Things were different in
It's
the
me
70s,
trying to do a Midwestern accent and failing, but
got a hot wife.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Things were different in the 70s. He's into it. I think there are episodes where like Bob and Midge are swingers.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. There's an episode where like Red's old like friend from the military like invites him to a party, and it turns out to be a key party, and like Red and Kitty are disgusted and they're like storming off, and he's like, Bob, we're leaving, and Bob's like, oh god, a key party where you switch partners, oh no, and he starts to walk and he like lets the door close before he leaves and like turns back, and then they open it and like drag Bob out, but it's really good.
Oh god, that's fantastic.
Good show. But yeah, also important, Bob has a perm, and this is a new thing.
It's a fantastic perm.
Yep.
I didn't realize this would have been controversial in 1976, but yeah.
Yep. I think it's new. Red thinks it looks like a poodle's ass. He tells Eric not to say the ass word. I just like these characters, and I like this show.
It's a fun show.
Yeah.
I like Ron from Days Like These well enough, but he looks, in my mind, too much like a big teddy bear.
Whereas Red actually looks intimidating.
I think I described him as a twisted piece of iron.
Yeah, that's a very good description. Ron in the British version, like he's a big man with a deep voice, so he is like stern and intimidating, but he's more round. He's got a big beard, so like he does look a little, like on a surface level, a little cuddly.
He looks like a guy that would like dress up as Santa on Christmas, like the actor, not the character. But
Tyler points out he sounds boisterous in a way that Red isn't. Like Kurtwood Smith is just so good as, like Harrison says, this twisted piece of iron. Like you look at him and you're like, this is a stern man who has no patience for anyone,
right?
But takes great delight in the suffering of others.
Every baby boomer parent.
Yes. So good. And like, so I think, they're definitely playing off of different things. Like I could definitely see like Ron being more what you'd expect a stern father in England to be.
That could be it, yeah.
But he does come off a little less cartoonish as Kurtwood Smith, in a way that I don't mean as an insult, in a way that I'm like, Kurtwood Smith is so perfect for this character.
Yeah. But anyway, Eric, now talking to his dad, tries to sneak the beers with like sleight of hand, but he's not very good at it. He gets seen almost immediately.
He like grabs 2 beers and like puts them down because he's like standing on the other side of a table. So he puts his arms down or something like that.
Which we should also say, I think the first really big plot thing is the Foremans have just gotten a new Toyota, and so Red was going to get rid of their old car, a Vista Cruiser, but Eric offers to take it, that Eric's getting a car. But yeah, Eric tries to sleight of hand the beers. He's caught immediately. Red says, like, where'd you get those? And Eric's like, I found them.
Lying around.
Yep. And Eric and Red tells him, and it's, very reasonable. We'll put them away.
And he just walks away.
Yeah.
Very, very effective parenting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in another vein of effective parenting, Kitty gives Eric a couple of beers, tells them, you really do something with these, put them in the freezer. They're warm.
Yeah, she's like, put them in the freezer downstairs because you're going down there anyway.
Yeah.
Which is depriving Hyde of his one true desire, which is to have a cold beer, but whatever.
It's harder to make fun, silly jokes about a good show because the show just makes good jokes.
Right.
So I apologize if I'm coming up with a blank. I know that I'm here to entertain listeners, and you're always demanding so much of me, and I hate it. I'm going to leave right now.
Well, Mark, before you leave, I have a fun bit for you called IMDb Trivia. Oh, baby.
Wait, I'm back. I came back. I was just out the door. I had gone on the subway. I was my bags were packed, but I heard IMDb Trivia.
I'm bringing them back
ran
in.
back.
So
yeah.
So just for context, the pilot is set on May 17th, 1976, which, according to IMDb, I don't know why this is important, a major 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck Uzbekistan on the day that the pilot is set.
What a weird fact!
That's definitely
so sad.
That's definitely from someone viewing this in Uzbekistan. That's like, oh, May 1976. Fun fact.
Well, I got another fun fact for you.
Go
This
ahead.
one is not earthquake in Uzbekistan weird. But May 17th, 1976 is actually a Monday, but Red is having company over and serving drinks as if it was a holiday. Eric has his friends over too. Being a school night, parents like Red and Kitty would not allow their kids to have friends over, and certainly not entertain, unless it was a holiday. In 1976, Memorial Day fell on May 31st, exactly 2 weeks later.
Who went back to the
Yeah.
calendar
I have
and
no
checked
idea.
that? That's some
Someone with
extra
way too
level
much time on their
of-
hands.
By the way, I know you wanted to brush over it to get to this next point, but I want to go back to the Uzbekistan thing because it's just insane. Not even just like that this happened. It's insane to me that someone was watching this show and went to the IMDb page to be like, I know this show takes place in Wisconsin, USA, but here's a fun fact about Uzbekistan.
Well, I think what
It's
they're
like-
saying is maybe they should have had like a throwaway line in the pilot where he's upstairs and Bob's like, so did you hear about that earthquake in Uzbekistan?
Yeah.
Yes, that definitely.
It's
would
like,
have been super relevant.
yeah.
It would have been relevant, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't have worked.
It's just, to me, it's like someone was watching like Full House and they were like, and they were seeing a Christmas episode and they were like, fun fact, this episode takes place on Christmas. My dad died on Christmas. So I just thought I'd share that with everyone.
my
Like,
God.
why are
That's
you,
really messed up.
Yeah.
why do I need to know this? And why is that what sprung to mind and had to be shared with the world?
I don't know. Listen, I don't write the trivia. I just report it.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
I'm not shooting
Yeah.
the messenger. I'm shooting whoever wrote that
Whoever
trivia.
wrote
I'm
the
gonna
message.
find them. I'm gonna find them
Yes.
and shoot them. Not with a gun. I'm gonna shoot them with a camera, and I'm gonna frame it
The
and I'm gonna
camera.
hang it up in my home and title
Nice.
it weirdest piece of trivia.
That's a good goal to have. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that. So yeah, Eric steals the beers.
Yep.
And he runs downstairs, and
Yep.
so the operation is a success.
Yes.
And this is also where we find out that in an exchange that I really like, we find out like Donna maybe has a thing for Eric because Donna does a little joke now that Eric has succeeded. She says like, Eric, have I ever told you how incredibly handsome you are? And Eric goes, no. And then Kelso says, he told me he's cute. She says, no, I didn't. And he goes, yeah, I remember because he told me not to tell Eric.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Starting off strong.
Yeah.
We never needed to Flanderize Kelso. We
Yeah.
needed to just have him start with a subhuman level of intellect right away.
Listen, we've said it before. If we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. We love a dummy. Kelso is our good himbo for this series.
Yeah. And again, it's a joke that, like, I think that's watching the British one where I was like, oh, that's really where they, like, that's a joke that is really good in the American version that they just kind of mess up.
They kind of brush over it.
Yeah, because he does, like, he says the same thing, but he says it more. I know we were saying they don't commit to it as much, but he, to me, says it more like a joke. He says, like, I remember because you said not to tell Eric. Whereas, like, Kelso is just fully in the spirit of, like, yeah, you told me not to tell Eric.
Yeah.
Also, Donna's reaction, I think, was better in the American show. Like, Laura Prepon, she, like, kind of gets annoyed. She's like, stop it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Donna in the British version, I don't know the actor's name, just kind of, like, looks at him smilingly, like, Kelso, I told you not to talk about this.
Yeah, it's a sort of, like, a difference of, like, it always feels in the British version like they're delivering jokes, which I think with different material would work really well. But what makes it like sing in the American version is they're all so committed to the characters who are genuinely saying this dumb shit.
Yeah.
I love it. And then we get to the theme song.
Yay!
Which is, I mean, there's not that much to say. It just looks worse in days like these.
Yeah, it's funny because you're sort of like, what, what are they going to do? They do the car thing. They're singing in the car. But instead of the song playing, the characters are actually singing it.
Yeah.
The song's kind of hokier. And it's just funny. It looks like the cheap version of the American opening credits.
It's really just kind of an allegory for just the show as a whole, because it just kind of feels like that one meme where it's like, can I copy your homework? Sure, but like change it a little bit so no one knows that you copied. And that stays like these.
Yeah, and we're doing things for comedic effect. I don't mean to be too mean about it. Like, I think everyone was like putting in a good effort. I think the actors with different material would be fine. I think if you were to write a sitcom set in the English suburbs in the 1970s, like, you could do that. I just think it needs to be different. Like, there's such a specificity, it feels like, to the American version.
Right. It's just, it doesn't really develop its own identity.
Yeah. And it is interesting with later episodes. Like, there's an episode of that, I think it's like the third episode of That 70s Show. The President of the United States visits. And so they have to change it to the Prince is visiting. The Prince, now the King.
That's right.
And they do have to write a lot of new jokes. And they're not all like bad or anything, but it's just like an interesting thing of like when they do actually have to change a lot.
Doesn't work better,
Yeah.
Oi, cheerio, everybody! The President of the United States is coming here!
They should have done it. They should have been the President of the United States was coming, and they all have very strong opinions on it for some reason.
President Gerald Ford?
Yep.
This Gerald Ford fellow.
Yeah, in the American version, they're talking a lot about like Nixon and
stuff. For that accent, by the way.
I told you, don't apologize.
Or they deserve it.
Yep. We come back from the theme song. This is one of our first big pop culture reference things. In the American version, they're watching the Brady Bunch without sound, and Eric and Donna are making jokes. And in the British version, they're watching Doctor Who, but it's the same scene. And the jokes I thought were funnier in the American version. Not much to say about that. Otherwise,
yeah.
Yep.
Not much to say about it. We also meet Jackie.
Yep.
Who I often forget she is like the biggest teenager of the bunch.
I really love it. I love this performance in this. She's so. I mean, Mila Kunis was actually 14 when they made this.
Right.
But she feels so much like a teenager in the writing.
Mm-hmm.
She's just in love with her idiot high school boyfriend. She's like, well, he's a perfect man and we're going to be happy forever and he's so great. And she's just so oblivious to the fact that he's like the biggest loser and a huge idiot.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think there's a later
that's
episode where
fantastic.
Donna has to tell Jackie, like, look, Jackie, he's not smart. You're expecting way too much of him.
Dumb.
Yep. But they also, Kelso accidentally drops that they're going to a concert together, and it turns out they have not invited Jackie.
Right.
But they did invite the foreign exchange student.
Yeah, this is our first mention of Fez, and it's
Yeah.
just that foreign kid Fez,
Yeah.
who in the British
Foreign
version is
exchange.
Torbjorn Rasmussen.
Yeah, I wish they had an acronym similar to Fez for
Yeah.
Torbjorn.
I
but-
said this when we were watching Days Like These. I really think it would have been hilarious if the foreign exchange student in Days Like These was an American.
that
Yeah,
would have been good.
it would have been funny. It would have been very
Yeah.
good.
They could have just gotten Fez.
Yeah, they just have
Fez's
Wilder
actor.
Valderrama back.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could just be Fez.
Yeah.
Like,
It could
it
be.
would be really funny if it was just Wilmer Valderrama, but I guess instead they're like, well, it wouldn't make sense to have a foreign exchange student from a South American country. It should be from some sort of Nordic land. That's the big
I guess
choice
the
they
logic
make with that
makes
character.
sense there.
Yeah,
like
no.
A local foreign exchange, like a more
Yeah.
local
Yeah,
foreign
yeah.
exchange
No,
student.
it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's just like a funny thing. Every once in a while watching this show, like you run into something that like is like kind of a minor change that like they made because they have to. Later in this episode, like Eric says like we could drive to Canada, and in the British version he goes we could drive to Wales, and I don't know why, but that just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they just like left that in? It's just like the British version's like, we can go to Canada. We,
We
could drive across the ocean.
Eric, did you hit your head a little hard at the concert?
By the way, Tyler, I just want to say, Tyler, you better sync up the audio perfectly because Zach and I organically said we could drive across the ocean at the same time. And I will be furious if you don't sync it up properly.
Mark will come to your house.
I will come to your house. You're not in the same state as me. I will travel and find you. I don't know your address, actually. I've never been to your place, but I will find you.
find
You've
out.
been to my place. Maybe I'll invite you over, and that's how I find you. And you'll be like, oh, we'll have a fun time at Mark's. And I'm like, no, this is for me to you know what? I'm going to take your picture, and I'm going to hang it on my wall. And I'm going to say, worst syncer of audio. Probably not the
Wow.
worst. I'm sure you'll do a fine job. I'm sorry I snapped at you, Tyler.
You made it sound so threatening, and it's like, I'm going to take your picture.
Yeah. Well, like the person who wrote the piece of IMDb trivia, I'm going to shoot them with a camera.
Hmm.
It's a
They don't
callback.
deserve that much wrath for the Uzbekistan fact.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of wrath.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So anyway, yeah, Eric and Donna leave the room. Jackie is angry that Kelso did not invite her to the concert, and she uses the promise of lovin' to get him to invite her. Eric and Donna come back to find Jackie on Kelso's lap, and they just go, well, I guess you're going to the concert, Jackie.
yes.
Which, like, to me, it's like, how did they get an extra ticket with such short notice?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
That's what I was thinking when I saw this.
It was for Kelso's replacement date. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, actually, they had an extra ticket. Actually, it was going to go to Zeppo, who was going to be a major character on this show, but they switched him out. But like they had to give the ticket to Jackie. So unfortunately, we're never going to meet him.
Yeah, Zeppo was
Oh,
just
no.
really hurt by the gesture and stopped
Yep.
hanging out with them out of principle.
Yep.
Yeah, how dare we do Zeppo dirty like
Yeah.
that?
Justice for Zeppo.
He's still hanging out with them. He's just like right off camera, and we never see him, and they never mention him. But
That'd
it's
be
like
so
he is the other member of the group. We just
Justice for
no.
Zeppo.
It's like that episode of Community where Jack Black turns out to have
Yeah.
been there the whole time.
yes.
Or the episode of Community where Abed is just in the background having his own adventure the entire time.
Yep.
Yes.
Can I
A lot of Community episodes we could draw upon.
can I ask you guys for a favor?
What?
Would you guys be willing to like come over and film me in front of a green screen and then like edit me into episodes of That 70s Show as beloved character Zeppo.
Hell yes.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
We're doing it.
That'd be great.
We'll go through and like write dialogue, but off the top of my head, I think I'll just be in there and like Kelso will say something dumb and I'll be like, Kelso, I don't think it works like that.
And then we add a laugh track.
Yeah. He's gonna go, damn, Jackie, I don't control the weather, and I'll go, I don't think that's what she meant, Michael.
And then there's a laugh track that plays.
Yeah.
He's the annoying friend that nobody ever acknowledges.
Yeah.
He's just like, what are you contributing, Zeppo?
Someone's like, who's that guy? And Eric's like, that's Zeppo. We just keep him around. I don't know. We just keep him around for whatever reason.
Yeah. We every once in a while we will re-record Topher Grace's dialogue, and it'll be like, everyone's going. It's gonna be, Hyde, Donna, Fez, Kelso, Jackie, and Zeppo.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really poorly edited.
Yep. It's all my good friends, including Zeppo.
My God.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I'd do without you guys, especially Zeppo. He's my favorite.
Justice for Zeppo.
Justice for Zeppo. I'm telling you.
We need Zeppo. We need Zeppo in that 90s
Release
show.
the Zeppo cut.
Release the Zeppo cut. So Eric and Donna leave the room, and for a very
Jackie and Kelso leave the room, and then Eric and Donna have a moment.
Oh right. We already went over their conversation.
Yeah.
Eric and Donna have a conversation.
Yeah, about how his sister doesn't think they should be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sweet little moment of like some flirtation between the two of them.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna kiss. Maybe at the end of this episode.
So
they're gonna do some
together.
smooching.
Yeah.
Like, way to get me on board with this romance subplot right away.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah,
They did a great job.
They've got a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not as much in days like these.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah, they're killing it. So then what comes next?
Well, next is the shot. It's Eric, and he's talking about, I didn't know it until yesterday.
Oh
but
yeah.
I want you. I've wanted you
yeah.
all my life. I need you. I think I'm in love with you. And then Donna appears over his shoulder and goes, Eric, it's a car. Because he was talking to the car.
Yeah.
Guys, do you get it?
I get it.
Yeah, which I will say, this is another, I think, interesting difference between That 70s Show and Days Like These. Because when Eric is delivering it in Days Like These, he is like really genuine and committed. He like almost sounds like he's about to cry. He really sounds like he's in love with this car. And I do think it's as weird, as much as we were saying, like, they don't commit to the emotion as much, and they're a little more relying on like kind of the British like dryness and sarcasticness. It is a weird thing where, like, because Topher Grace is a little more sarcastic and jokey, I think his jokes land more because that's that character. Whereas I kind of appreciate the performance of him being so like genuine, but he does sort of feel like he feels like more of a regular guy, but I don't find him as funny.
Yeah, Topher Grace, there's something about him. It feels like he's stumbling through the plot.
Mhm.
Like he's like this everyman who's like slipping
Yeah.
on a banana peel and then like hitting the button that says stop the bombs from exploding, you
Yeah.
know? Like he's just like the
You read my
everyman-
screenplay.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
You read Operation Banana,
Operation
About
Banana, starring Topher Grace.
starring Topher Grace, about the evil monkey who's going to take over the world, and he keeps eating bananas and throwing the
Yes.
peels, and it's set up, and like the payoff is
Paid
exactly
off.
what you described.
Exactly.
yeah.
Topher Grace saves the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to think it's like, it's really a political statement. There's a lot in there about socialism. I won't say whether I'm pro or against, but watch the movie to find out.
Monkey Operation
He's
Banana.
strongly neutral on socialism.
Yes, strongly,
Strongly
neutral.
neutral.
Characters talk about it a lot in the script, but they never quite come on one side or the other.
They say that centrist movies are apolitical and truly boring, but no, this movie is aggressively centrist.
And it's really like, it's a deconstruction If you think about it, like that's
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do.
Of monkey society.
Of monkey society, like who is the monkey? Like, am I the monkey? Are we the monkey? Are the people in power the monkey?
The monkey is a
They're
metaphor.
definitely the monkeys.
Are those clowns in Congress the monkeys?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Imagine monkey clowns in Congress. That would be a lot of fun.
Monkey
I'd be down for that.
clown.
I'd be more down for that than
Yeah.
actual Congress right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Someone run a monkey for Congress.
Yes,
let's
do it.
All right. I'm just imagining like someone goes to vote and it's like, okay, we have Republic, we have like John Smith and Phil Johnson, and then we also have Bananas the monkey.
Tyler wants us
As a
to get
write-in
back on
candidate.
subject, but I do also just want to say if you have 100 monkey senators working 100 hours, they will draft a bill giving everyone universal health care.
Let's do it.
Okay, back to that.
Vote monkeys
70s
into
show.
power.
We go to the hub, which is their like diner where they hang out, and we finally meet Fez, who looks at a woman and says, "I'm new to English, but so maybe I'm gonna mess this up, but she has tremendous breasts, yes." And guys, this is the beauty of this pilot. In one line, we have set up Fez's character that will go on for the rest of the series, which is that he is just so horny.
Yes.
All the time. It's amazing.
Yes.
I feel like every foreign exchange person gets a little horny.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
let me take this again. There's this expectation that you're just going to find so many women.
There's this expectation
when
that
you
you're going to be
travel
hot just
abroad.
because you're foreign.
Yeah, and Fez is the perfect deconstruction of that because he gets no one.
Mhm.
I've never thought about it that way, but that's actually maybe a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like that's how it is in like a lot of fiction, where it's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hot new foreign exchange student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Fez is cute enough, but he does not get many women.
No, he does not.
When is it Fez's turn? It's a line from later in the show, and I really like it.
Such a real line.
But yeah, also Kelso says that he's breaking up with Jackie, which is something that he says basically through the entirety of their relationship in this show. And again, basically throughout the show, they immediately don't believe him. Never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just something I want to shout out that I like. And we go to, guys, it's The Circle. Our first The Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're, I mean, I guess we never see exactly what they're doing, but they sure are giggling a lot, and there sure is smoke everywhere.
Gee, I wonder what they could be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like they're having a great time. So it makes you nostalgic for the old days when you would sit in friendship circles with
Yeah.
smoke surrounding you.
You
If there's no smoke, are you really friends?
Yeah, I remember all our times in high school when we'd sit in a circle and we'd throw on the dry ice. and
I'd
we'd
bring
just
my smoke
talk and
machine.
laugh. Yeah, Zach would bring his smoke machine because sometimes you run out of dry ice.
Exactly.
And you need a backup.
Yeah, and you need a backup plan.
Yeah. And it's just like we'd have a grand old time. I think I heard that they like couldn't show drug use on the show, so this was them getting around it.
That
Okay.
makes so much
Yeah, that's
sense
fair.
because
Yeah.
like obviously it's implied.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's never
Oh,
any
they're
denial
super
that
high.
they're-
Oh, it's
Yeah.
heavily
I mean, they're
implied.
totally
yeah.
right.
Everyone
Yeah,
knows that,
it's
but I
in
think
the
they
text, they just
couldn't
don't say the
literally
words.
depict it. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't show it happening.
Yeah, and I just want to say Ashton Kutcher is doing some great high person acting
Yeah.
in this scene. I wanted to single him.
Yeah.
They're all good, but I wanted to single him out because I think he's doing a really good job.
He is
Um,
fully losing it, and I love it.
They talk about the gas shortage. They talk about the car that runs on water, man.
I remember like doing this a long time ago with you,
Yeah.
Mark, watching at that 70s show back to back with Days Like These, episode
Mhm.
1. And learning for the first time that there is a water powered car for real in the world. And you had to explain that to me because I thought it was a joke made by the show.
I don't remember this. to be honest.
I remember it happening at the time, but that I don't know, maybe it was a long time ago. It was back in high school.
I also just
you
like don't
dreamed it.
remember that fact. I'm like, did I say that? I don't think I knew that.
I don't know.
Maybe you told me.
Maybe you did.
Harrison, you got to
Maybe
believe
I
in
knew
yourself.
about
You're
it.
making me sound cool in your memories when it's really you.
I thought you were gonna say you're making me sound cool in your memories when in reality I'm not cool.
In reality, I'm a fucking loser.
Mark, have confidence in yourself. You are cool. And you
Oh, you're
totally
right.
knew what a water-powered car was. Maybe, I don't know.
You're right. I'm the best. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's what I meant to implore. Yeah.
But yeah, Eric gets called upstairs by Red and Kitty. And there's a very good scene where he's looking at them and he's high. So the background is like shaking, or it's like swaying back and forth. But Red and Kitty are stable. It's not as effective in the British version. It's just like cheaper special effects, I think.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of cuts in the American version because they're like walking back and forth. Whereas in the British version, it just feels like they're Red and Kitty, or Ron and Kitty, are like standing in like the same place and the camera's just moving between them, or like they're just stepping in and out of the shot.
Yeah,
like, side to side.
because Red and Kitty, the scene is Red and Kitty are like, they're telling Eric that they're giving him the car, and they also give him a stern talking to about taking care of the car.
Yeah.
And they do this thing in both that like they're saying these things of advice. I think my two favorites are always yield, always. And Lori's friend got pregnant in a car. Don't let that happen. And in both, they are like stepping back and forth into and out of frame, but there's more camera movement in the American one and there are more cuts. So it feels more energetic. Whereas the British one feels very stationary and it just like robs it of the energy.
It feels like it's just one long take and the actors are just like saying their thing, stepping to the side, letting the other actor go. Then they step to the side. The first actor steps back into frame.
Also, on the other side, I think what didn't land in the scene for me was like back once again, not to beat a dead horse, but Topher Grace kind of does this scene like he's constantly worried that
they're gonna find out
he's high.
Yeah.
He's like on the verge of like a psychedelic experience here. Whereas in the show, he just in Days Like These, he just smiles.
Yeah.
He's just am I getting the car? Wow, that's great.
That's a really good point. That's really true. I do also want to mention, I think part of it with the background moving, but them being stationary, I think there are like more stationary things in the American version. Like I think we can see, like shelf and like the phone and those stay. So it sells the effect more. And I did just want to say like, they don't have that. So it just isn't as funny, but like, I think like, definitely the Topher Grace performance is so good in this scene. He's so worried he's going to be found out and they don't quite get that in the British version.
Also, when he gets the keys for the car, Topher Grace says bitchin', which I guess is not British slang, but is way funnier than whatever they said in the British show.
I think he just said shit. I think it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or maybe it's because I know like they're more loose with like curses in the UK that like maybe bitchin' just isn't scandalous enough. But I feel like it would be more than like shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the C word is not considered like a horrible word to use in the UK.
Yeah. It's used colloquially in other places.
Yeah, it's like a term of endearment.
Yeah. They're about to go drive to the concert, and then Red comes and says, "Oh, and one more thing, Eric. No trips out of town."
The car's really old, so no trips out of town.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Again, it's just like part of that thing where like when Kurtwood Smith does it, he has this like impish grin.
Right.
That's so good. And you just don't quite get it with the other version. It's just interesting. Yeah, I feel like we're basically saying again and again, it's just not as good. But I really do want to say it's just interesting to see the same script
done in two different ways.
In two different ways. Because you don't see that with sitcoms a lot. You can see different versions of a play, different productions of a play, but you don't.
You can
see-
find like
yeah.
20 different versions of episode 1 of The Office, but like nothing like this exists anymore, where it's just the same show twice.
Right. And even then, where it's like the British Office and the American Office are like two very different shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, like part of what we're doing here, like there are a ton of American remakes of British shows that do not work. So I have fun when there's a British remake of an American one that isn't very good. There are some American ones that land at least, but
gives us a perspective of what it feels like.
yeah, we got to enjoy it. You guys know about the Russian version of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
I
Really?
do not. No,
Yeah,
but
It's
that
Always
sounds-
Sunny in Moscow was a real show that existed. But
That's really
to my
fun.
That sounds
understanding,
insane.
even though you go like Russian It's Always Sunny, oh my God, what is that like? I think there's something like because of like Russian TV standards, it's actually a lot more tame than It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Damn it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I figured that would be the problem, but like,
Yeah.
hearing you say it, that's like, oh yeah, that
Yeah,
wouldn't
that
work
makes
at all.
sense.
Yeah, It's Always
Yeah.
Sunny in Moscow. Look it up. It's real.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I go down the rabbit hole of foreign remakes of American shows. They do the Golden Girls a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
There are a
I can see
lot
that
of
working.
there are a lot
Yeah.
of like it's a bunch of old women, but instead there's a British version of the Golden Girls, and
Is
I
it
think
called
it's,
the Silver Girls?
No, it's called like the Brighton Bells, I think.
Oh.
The Brighton Bells. I like that.
Yeah. I think it wasn't successful, but maybe I'm wrong, and there's someone listening to this who's like, Mark, you idiot, you silly man.
I lost my virginity on a couch while watching the Brighton Bells.
Yeah.
It was the best experience of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, you do you.
Yeah.
I'm not judging.
British person, not me.
My hypothetical British friend. I see what you're doing there.
Yes.
But yeah, Red tells them not to go out of town. Donna basically Donna and Kelso, but they convince Eric to go to the concert. There's the line we used in the intro that I really like, Donna saying like, just because Red does it doesn't mean you have to do it. And Eric says, well, he's God. And then
It's
Kelso
very
says,
good.
I think God would want us to go to Milwaukee.
I just really do love the delivery of Topher Grace of he's God.
Yeah, in the British version, he doesn't get it quite as much. It's much more low key. He's not as worried, but the delivery of he's God is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But ultimately, Donna gently peer pressures him under the guise of giving him the choice.
Yep.
Yeah. There's also a fun bit that I like where Kelso and Donna are arguing over who gets to ride shotgun, and they let Eric decide. And Eric
Yeah.
says Kelso, and Kelso like starts going in, and he says get in the back, and then he just like falls over.
Yep. It's so good. It's really good. And then there's a great little moment where we go
this
to Red and Kitty says, I wonder where they're going. And Red goes, out of town.
The
And,
best.
Yeah.
Kitty's like, how do you know? And he says, because I told him not to. And then Kitty says, well, I guess they'll be gone for a while. And they both run upstairs, presumably to their bedroom.
Yeah.
For
Perfect.
sex.
Perfect. Gotta squeeze it in there. Gotta squeeze it in.
It's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
show. This is a good pilot. This is a good episode.
Yeah. I had fun watching this.
Yep. But anyway, we go over, guys, oh no. Problem.
What's the problem?
The car battery is dead.
Oh no, that's a big problem.
It's a big problem. They
That is a
can't
big
drive
problem.
with a dead battery.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep.
And the mechanic says that a replacement is $32, which I did look up on the inflation calculator. It would be $164 today.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah. So just fun facts. That's
Well,
my
instead
fun
of
fact
that
trivia.
steep price, Kelso, the business mind that he is, comes up with a deal. He says to the guy, how about we trade you our battery plus $5 for your battery?
It's so good.
I
I love it.
Kelso's recognition that the busted 6-year-old battery is not going to be a suitable
Yeah.
trade.
It's only depreciated in value by $5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, can we just say Red was right?
Yeah.
was totally
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Red was totally right. It was a mistake to go out of town.
I guess it works out.
Oh,
by the end of
definitely.
the scene,
Completely
but-
works out. But yeah, Jackie wants to call her dad, and they tell her, no, you can't call your dad because we're not supposed to go out of town. And they explain to her that parents talk to each other in a very fun little sequence where we see all the parents at a party, but they're being voiced by the teens.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Isn't it great that all our kids are such good friends?
Mm-hmm.
And hey, isn't it great when I bailed out Eric when the car battery died? Eric, but I told him not to go out of town.
I'm gonna ground him forever.
And then
It's
Kitty
fantastic.
walks in and Eric does like a high-pitched voice.
Yes, that's good.
It's so good.
And then they do like this perfectly choreographed like.
They do the hustle.
They just do the hustle, and then it
It's-
fades back to the
yeah.
teens, and they're also doing the hustle.
I just love that they're demonstrating this point, and they've gotten so into the bit that they just go, "Hey guys, let's hustle," and they all just start dancing. It's so good. But yes, they're doing the hustle in real life, and basically the mechanic offers them. He says like, "Hey, if you give me 2 of the tickets to the concert, I'll give you a battery." And they're trying to decide what to do, and Kelso's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" And they say, "Well, we could leave Jackie. Whose ticket are we
Yeah.
gonna give up?" "Well, there's Jackie." And I just love that Kelso goes, "Well, yeah, of course Jackie, but like who else?"
Of course, Jackie. Kelso does not respect his
Yeah.
girlfriend at all.
No, Kelso does not respect women.
I do want to
Yeah,
state, like, everyone's
point
really
on.
great in this episode, and watching it I was like, there isn't one MVP, everyone's really great, but the way we're talking about the episode, I find that we're talking a lot about Kelso. Maybe Kelso's the MVP of the episode.
Oh, he's great.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think we said this a lot when we were first watching Fuller House. Kelso has the exact same energy as Jimmy Gibbler from Full House.
Yes, he
Yes.
does. He also looks remarkably
Yeah.
like Jimmy Gibbler.
Yeah,
Yes.
Or I guess Jimmy Gibbler looks like Michael Kelso.
right.
Yeah. Except Jimmy Gibbler respects women, which makes him a better himbo. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Kelso has literally zero respect for Jackie.
Yeah.
Or any woman, but mostly Jackie.
Kelso, for $1, name a woman.
But they're like, "Yep, we're gonna give away Kelso's ticket." Fez is also really good in this scene.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say there's a line where it's like, "I had to listen to her for an hour," and Fez immediately comes in and says, "A really long hour." I'm not doing the
Perfect.
accent, but yeah. And then they're at the concert. The mechanic, his date is a man, and they remark upon how they're cool with that. There's some payoff from a joke there's some
We didn't
payoff
talk about
to a
that
joke
joke.
from
Yeah,
earlier.
we didn't talk about the bit. Well, it's a
Yeah.
bit where Jackie goes to the bathroom and drags Donna with her because of the thing where girls go to the bathroom in pairs. And
Fez doesn't understand this.
Yeah, Fez doesn't understand this. He tries to take. He goes to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom and tries to take Eric with him, and Eric's like, "No, it doesn't work that way with guys."
And so at this concert, the mechanic goes to the bathroom and goes, "Kevin." And Kevin, his date, follows him, and Fez looks at Eric like, what the fuck, man? And Eric says, "I'll explain it to you later." This is one of those ones that in the British version, he sort of laughs through that line.
Yeah.
But in the American version, Topher Grace is very much playing like, I'll tell you about it.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yep. We go to Jackie and Kelso in the car. She's very touched that he gave up his ticket to be with her. And it's also very funny. I forgot about this part that she says, like, "Michael, I think we should break up." She says that they should break up, and he goes like, "Now?" Which I'm unsure if the joke, I like the joke either way, that either Kelso is like, despite the fact that he keeps saying, "Well, I'm going to break up with Jackie," when she brings it up, he's like, "Well, I don't want to break up." Or that the joke is, she's like, "We should break up," and he's like, "Well, I wasn't going to do that now."
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna do that.
That's what I was
during
thinking, because it's more
sex.
so like, oh, well,
Yeah.
we're like waiting here for the concert to finish, and then we have to drive back together.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a more cynical interpretation, which is that he's trying to get his belt off, so he
Yeah.
doesn't want to do it now because his penis is taking over his brain. you know?
Honestly, I think Harrison's probably right.
He's probably right. Yeah.
He probably isn't thinking about the breakup anymore. He's like,
Yeah, my idea
we're
is
doing
too
the
smart for
sex.
Kelso.
Yeah, but she says like, you're obviously not having a good time with me, and he goes like, no, I'm having a good time with you. And then she's like really touched that he gave up his ticket. I think she calls him lover. And it looks like Kelso is gonna have a good time after all.
Good for Kelso.
And we
got a pretty sweet deal on those concert tickets.
Yep. We end the episode with Eric and Donna hanging out on the hood of the car. Back home, Eric's like really high from the experience, going like, it's a world of possibilities. We could do anything. We could drive to Canada or Wales, maybe.
Depending on where we live.
Yeah, it's weird that he says that in the American version.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Of course.
And Donna goes to leave, but before she does, she kisses him.
She gives him a little smooch.
Yeah. And there's
Ooh la la.
there's a nice little line where he's like, why'd you do that? And she says, well, to see what it was like. And he says, what was it like? And she goes, well, you were there. And he says like, well, I wasn't ready for it. I would have done something different. I would have done something with my lips. And she says, well, we'll try that next time. And that's how the episode ends.
Well, it ends with him going,
Woo,
when's next time? When is next
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
Donna?
Yeah. And
Perfect end.
And it really does, watching the two back to back, I know we talked about it, but we really do see how much chemistry Laura Prepon and Topher Grace have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a really good moment between the two of them. And I don't think the British actors are bad, but it's just like not sold quite as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, not doesn't quite land as much, but it's a good ending either way.
And that's the pilot. And I do want to say, just for anyone out there, didn't come to it naturally, because now that I'm thinking about it, Hyde is good in this episode, but he doesn't do so much.
Yeah.
But I do just want to say, for any fans of Matt Berry or The Toast of London, the Hyde equivalent in the British version is played by Ray Purchase. Harry
Oh.
Peacock is the actor's name, but the character is Ray Purchase.
That's wow.
Also, side note, I was watching a Ray Purchase compilation, and he's Stephen Toast's rival, and there's a moment where he sees Toast and says, well, if it isn't Stephen, hide your wife, because he'll fuck anything Toast.
Oh my God.
So you can clip him out. He literally says, Stephen Hyde,
Oh my god.
Oh.
right? Weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway,
Anyway, shall we, since the episode is over, shall we do Sad Boy of the Week?
I think we shall.
We shall.
I think
This
we shall.
I feel like this is a bit weird because it is technically 2 episodes, but it is the same episode, so
Yeah.
I guess it works.
My nominee, and maybe again I sort of realized maybe as it went on, I think I'm gonna nominate Mr. Michael Kelso
Yeah, I was gonna say Kelso
/ Michael McGuire,
Yeah.
who's really funny and goes through things like everything from revealing Donna's crush on Eric
Yes.
because he's too stupid to get the cues right.
Yeah.
You told me. I remember because you told me not to tell Eric.
Not being able to go to the concert and being stuck with Jackie.
Yep. That he keeps saying like, well, I'm breaking up with Jackie, but he's obviously never going to break up with Jackie. And none of his
Never.
friends believe him. His friends also all call him a whore.
Yeah, that
That's
does
true.
happen.
We skipped over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't get shotgun.
Right.
He
He
didn't
didn't
get
get
shotgun,
shotgun,
that's
and
right.
he was very upset about it.
Also, very funny that he's like, obviously I'm going to get shotgun, even though Eric and Donna definitely have a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, he definitely is gonna have to sit next to Jackie on the ride there.
Yeah.
When she gets in the car,
Yeah.
but he is not thinking about that at all.
Yeah. Not a man who thinks in general.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Eric as my nominee because he's generally a sad boy, but
Yeah.
he wins a little too much in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To really get the dub.
Yeah. Though
I
I
think
will
that's
shout out, it's from a later episode that I think is maybe the most sad boy thing that's ever been written, where like Eric, I think Donna's mad at Eric because he did something, and he says, he's talking to Red about it, and he says like, it's like bad things are always happening to me. It's like I have bad luck or something. And Red, very compassionately looks at Eric and says, son, the reason bad things happen to you is not because you have bad luck. It's because you're a dumbass.
Yep. I had a feeling I knew where that was going.
Yep.
That's the greatest
Yeah.
line.
Yep.
It's so good.
That's the greatest line ever written.
It's
like
so
you
good.
have bad luck or something. It's so good.
No, you're just a dumbass.
But I do think, we haven't voted yet. Sorry.
Kelso.
Yeah.
I'm voting for Kelso.
Yeah, Kelso. Yeah.
Michael
Yeah, he
Kelso, sad boy of the week. Put it on
By
the
a
books,
landslide.
baby.
Yeah.
Michael Kelso / Michael McGuire.
Yep.
And
you
with
win.
that, guys, it's time for us to time travel 20 years into the future. Get it?
Yep.
Woo!
I do get it.
I get it. Because from now on, we're going to be tackling that 90s show.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. This was a fun intro into that 90s show.
Yeah.
Starting
Yeah.
that 70s show,
Yeah.
only to skip past to the next show.
We are going to time travel a couple decades into the future. I hope no one stepped on any butterflies, because then the world might be irrevocably changed.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that 90s show is just like a very tonally different show?
It's a dystopia.
Yeah.
It's a dystopian
God.
work.
Eric and Donna's kids are trying to bust them out of like the thought police prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
They smoked too much pot in the 70s. They're a danger to society now.
Hey, as of recording, it hasn't come out yet. That could be what it's about.
Yeah, you
That's
never
not,
know.
It's not the vibe I got from the trailers, but who knows?
Marketing these days is so dishonest.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, we will be starting our watch of that 90s show next episode. But that's it for our watch through of the pilot of that 70s show and Days Like These. If you liked what you listened to, please rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us on social media, like our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Rewatch Party Pod. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be talking about that 90s show. You don't want to miss that. I might
You don't
talk
wanna
like
miss
this.
No,
That's
listen.
it. And until next time, I've been Mark Green.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
And I'm Zach Horowitz.
And keep rewatching and do the hustle.
Da, da, do, 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 do.